One of the most common questions beginners ask is, can I build a well-rounded aesthetic physique with just bodyweight movements? Not only that, but they're usually interested in knowing if you can build as much muscle mass as someone who trains in the gym. So what's the answer? Take a look at some videos on social media and you'll find people doing pull-ups, muscle-ups, the human flag, and other impressive exercises. Not only do they have remarkable control over their body weight, but they're also pretty jacked too. So rest assured, there's no doubt you can build an impressive physique with just bodyweight exercises. And even if you have some lifting experience under your belt, it's still probably a good idea to be familiar with some basic calisthenics movements. Why? Chances are at some point in your life, you might find yourself temporarily without access to a gym. Whether it's because you're going on holiday, a business trip, or whatever it may be, in these instances, being flexible with your training will help you maintain your physique and in some cases, build more muscle. Your body weight is an amazing way to build muscle if you know how to use it. With that being said, here are 5 ways to build more muscle with just your body weight. Number 1, better exercise selection. Whether you're training with weights or doing calisthenics, exercise selection plays a key role in your results and injury prevention. It's common for people to do random HIIT workouts when they're doing bodyweight workouts because they make you feel tired, and we associate the idea of feeling tired with a good workout. However, that's not true, and these workouts are not the best option for building muscle due to a poor muscle building stimulus. If the main goal is to pack on muscle, you should prioritize exercises that give you a good stimulus on the muscle you're targeting and apply progressive overload over time. It's not about doing exercises that look cool or make you feel like you've run a marathon, but focusing on basic movements that build muscle. For example, a T push-up variation may look cooler than a traditional push-up, but since it requires more stabilization, you might end up fatiguing yourself before you can give your chest a proper stimulus to grow. In an ideal scenario, your chest should be what stops you from doing more push-ups, not fatigue from doing an exercise you saw on Instagram. Another example could be doing jumping lunges versus bodyweight squats with a backpack. It's not that these exercises don't have a place in your program, rather they shouldn't be your main focus if you're trying to build muscle. For example, adding jumping lunges as a superset after bodyweight squats may be effective to add intensity to your workouts and provide a better stimulus for muscle growth than doing 3 rounds of different exercises for time. Now that we know to focus on movements that target the muscle you want to grow and allow you to get a good stimulus, let's talk about how often you should train each muscle group. Number 2, train with higher frequency. Training frequency refers to how often you train each muscle group per week. Plenty of research supports higher frequency training can lead to more muscle growth. More specifically, ideally, you want to train each muscle group 2 times per week, or maybe even 3 if you have a lagging body part you want to work on. That being said, let's not forget that total volume and intensity also play a key role in muscle growth. When it comes to bodyweight training, adjusting these variables may be a bit different than your standard gym program. This is because it's harder to adjust the intensity with your bodyweight exercises, and you also recover faster from bodyweight workouts than heavy lifting sessions. So where should you start? If you've watched some of our previous videos, you're probably already aware that 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week is a great reference point to build muscle. This recommendation comes from a classic meta-analysis by Schoenfeld and colleagues that reported 10 plus sets per week to failure produced the highest levels of hypertrophy compared to lower levels. One caveat about this meta-analysis is that most of these studies were on untrained individuals. Even though we can't generalize these findings to more experienced lifters, it's probably safe to assume that you can at least maintain your current physique with just 10 hard sets per week. With that out of the way, we also know that volume is one of the main drivers for muscle growth, and that you'll likely see better results from training each muscle group 2 to 3 times per week. And given that you can also recover faster from bodyweight sessions, it makes sense to take advantage of this and train with a higher frequency to increase your weekly volume. For example, instead of doing 10 sets of chest on a single day, you could do 5 sets of push-ups to failure 3 times per week and increase your training volume, which could be an effective way to drive muscle growth. Not only that, but doing fewer sets per session will result in less fatigue and improve the overall quality of each set, giving your muscles a better stimulus for muscle growth. Of course, you can organize your workouts according to your personal preference. Still, we think a full body routine is probably the best option to combine higher frequency training with higher volumes, and it can also help with fatigue management. So now the question is, how hard should you be training? Number 3, train to failure. By now you should have an idea of how many sets to aim for and what your training frequency should look like, but there's still one essential factor to cover, and that's training intensity. In other words, how hard should you be pushing each set? When it comes to the gym, you may have heard that training to failure all the time can be detrimental to your gains, as it generates a high amount of fatigue without resulting in greater gains. There is a lot of research suggesting that you can make very similar gains with less fatigue if you leave 1 to 3 reps in the tank instead of maxing out on every set. However, bodyweight workouts are a different story. For example, imagine doing a heavy bench press set for 5 to 10 reps versus doing a set of push-ups. If you did the bench press, you'd probably feel quite fatigued after the set, whereas if you did 5 to 10 push-ups, you'd probably feel like you didn't even warm up. This is because the bench press is a higher intensity exercise compared to push-ups. That seems rather obvious, but the real question is, can low-intensity exercises be just as effective as higher intensity to build muscle? The answer is yes, if you train to failure. However, to get to true failure with bodyweight exercises, you'll probably have to train with higher rep ranges instead of the standard 8 to 12 rep range you might be used to at the gym. Remember, there's nothing magical about training in the 8 to 12 rep range. It's simply a good rep range to accumulate training volume, and it's time efficient. To demonstrate this point, a 2015 study investigated the effects of low versus high load resistance training on muscle strength and hypertrophy. They compared similar programs, one training to failure in the 8 to 12 rep range, and the other training to failure in the 25 to 35 rep range, and they found very similar rates of hypertrophy. An important thing to consider is that these studies were done on people lifting weights. Could we expect the same results if you're training with just your body weight? Probably, yes. Going back to the bench press and push-ups example, a 2017 study compared the bench press at 40% of a 1-rep max versus push-ups on knees to get a similar number of repetitions to failure. The researchers found that participants gained strength and hypertrophy from the bench press and push-ups. So if you're looking to maximize muscle growth with bodyweight exercises, you should be training close to muscle failure. Now, before we move on to the next tip, there is something you should keep in mind when training to failure with higher reps. If you've ever done a high rep set in the gym, you know that you can start to feel a burning sensation in your muscles. With bodyweight training, it's common for people to stop when they think they're feeling this, instead of pushing to true failure. Don't stop when it starts to burn. Stop when you can't do another quality rep. That's how you know you'll give it your all. So how can we make the work that we're doing harder? This brings us to the next way to build muscle with bodyweight workouts. Number 4, slower rep tempos. Training to failure with bodyweight exercises can be easier said than done. What if you could do 30 or more push-ups and still feel like you could keep going? That would make each set take a lot of time, and it can be rather unmotivating to train like that all the time. If that's you, there are other options. Even if it's not your case, slowing down your reps can still be a good option to maximize muscle growth. Remember that muscles respond to tension. By slowing down each repetition, you'll increase the time under tension for the muscle and make the exercise harder. In doing so, you'll provide a better stimulus for muscle growth. Take push-ups as an example. If you can do 20 fast push-ups, try slowing them down. Control the eccentric, and hold at the bottom for a half second before coming up. When doing the pushing part of the movement, you can be explosive or go slow and make the exercise even harder. There are a lot of different ways to add intensity to your workouts. Remember, the goal is to stimulate the muscle, not do as many repetitions as possible. So don't worry about the number of reps. Instead, make them count, and you'll see better results. Number 5, add challenging variations. As we said at the beginning of the video, you should choose exercises that give you a good stimulus and give you the ability to apply progressive overload to your training, as this is one of the key principles for muscle growth. Eventually, what you're doing now will feel easy, or at least easier the more you train. For instance, 5 pull-ups today may feel challenging, but it can feel like a warm-up in a few months. When an exercise becomes too easy, you have a few options. You can make it harder by adding more weight, you can do more repetitions, or you can choose a more challenging variation. For example, if you're doing bodyweight lunges and they're too easy, try replacing them with Bulgarian split squats, as they target the same muscle groups, yet are more challenging because they require more stabilization and have increased range of motion. And you can get creative too. For example, you can use a backpack to make bodyweight exercises challenging. You could also target your muscles from different angles. Instead of doing regular push-ups, try decline or incline push-ups. If pull-ups are too challenging for you right now, try inverted rows and build your back strength until you're strong enough to do pull-ups. No matter what you decide, keep training with adequate intensity and don't be afraid to try out different exercises, especially if what you're doing is feeling stale. All in all, there are many ways to keep challenging yourself and give your muscles a good stimulus with just your body weight. To wrap up this list, here are other ideas you could look into. Increase training density, which means doing the same amount of work in less time. For example, if it normally takes you 60 minutes to complete your workout, try and complete it in 45 to 50 minutes while maintaining proper technique and not rushing your workout. Another way is to add more resistance with a vest, or add an isometric hold to each rep. Lastly, you can be more explosive with your movements, like clapping push-ups, or add supersets for the same muscle group so you can reach muscle failure faster, like doing a set of jumping lunges right after a set of squats with a backpack on your back. To finish the video strong, let's make a quick recap. 1. Focus on proper exercise selection. Don't chase workouts that make you feel tired. Instead, choose basic exercises that you can improve on and target the muscle you want to grow. Number 2, train with higher frequencies. This will help you accumulate more high-quality volume, leading to more muscle growth. Number 3, train to failure. Even if you're just using your body weight as resistance, you can build some real muscle if you're pushing yourself. Number 4, slow your repetitions. Create as much tension as possible and make each repetition count. This will increase the time under tension and provide the muscle with a better stimulus to grow. Number 5, add challenging variations. If something feels too easy, find ways to make it harder. Now it's time to get creative and make some gains. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below as it'll genuinely help out the channel. Also, if you're looking for an easy-to-follow, done-for-you bodyweight program you can do from the privacy of your own home with zero equipment, not even a pull-up bar, then you're in luck. Because we've recently partnered with Strong and Fit, a sister company of BJJ Fanatics, and created a revolutionary new bodyweight system guaranteed to add slabs of muscle to your frame in the next 90 days. And right now, you can grab a copy of this science-based bodyweight workout for 50% off. Just click the link in the description and enter the coupon code MONSTER50 at checkout. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more videos and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Peace.